Behind the Badge here at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office in Rochester, New York. Hosting the show, this is Todd Baxter, the Sheriff of Monroe County, with my co-host, Deputy Saunders Tisdale. How are you, sir?
Hey, how you doing, Sheriff? I am doing well.
Yeah, always look good.
Hey, you know what? Like I said, it's the skin. You know, like
It's
I
the
said, skin is in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I thought it was a haircut.
That's my eyebrows.
Just the eyebrows. Court Bureau.
Yeah, the Court Bureau. I mean, I'm doing well over there. A lot of guys out there, you know, fabulous guys that work in the Court Bureau and for Monroe County Sheriff's Department. And like I said, a lot of people don't know, but we are responsible for the intake of people coming into the building, making sure that everything is secure, and actually also making sure that everything goes well and according with any court proceedings that happen within the building itself.
Yeah, it's the end product for our criminal justice system, right? And tranquility and stability inside a courthouse, so the judges, juries can do their job. And you guys are, I guess, so much responsibility for that, the safety and security of jurors, judges. And then we always think of that, you know, we see on movies of that final moment, the verdict. Right, of a court, you know, where the juror please rise, and you guys got to be there.
Yeah,
you know,
so a lot of tense moments. I mean, you know, like I said, a lot of people, they really usually don't come down to the courthouse because, you know, things are going well. There's always that, you know,
it's
like you said before, you know, sometimes when, you know, an officer shows up, it's not always say happy birthday to everybody. It's things that aren't going the way they should be at times. And that's what happens in the Court Bureau as well. And it's kind of in a closed and charged, emotionally charged environment. So sometimes things happen, you know, and we want to make sure that everybody's protected. Yeah.
And it's a big lift. And, you know, in the old days, it was almost 10,000 people a week walking through those doors. And incredible. You know, I thought this morning we'd introduce our new subject, the subject we're going to talk about, via a news story. Channel 8 did a news story on this group. So I thought we'd just let the news story speak for itself. And I think Mateo is going to help us out with that.
Yeah.
Brothers, Big Sisters of Rochester expanding their program to include the Monroe County Sheriff's Office.
The program's Bigs in Blue and Bigs with Badges began in 2019 with RPD and Geneva PD. Now Monroe County Sheriffs will also be participating. Lisa Mattoon, CEO of Big Brothers, Big Sisters in Rochester, shares the importance of the program.
It's helping to bridge the gap between professional public safety officers, law enforcement officers, and the communities that they live and work in. So it's bridging that gap, bringing communities together, and supporting the youth.
Matoon went on to share that 100% of the youth in their program graduate high school. Big Brothers Big Sisters has been in the area since 1978, and the organization is hoping to expand their sheriff program even further in the future.
The one stat I got to pull out there, 100% of the participants graduate.
Wow.
That's an incredible stat. And two of the stars from that video are here with us today in our podcast, Bigs with Badges. So great, the guys, you know, to have you here. Lisa, you were featured on there. What's your job description over and what do you do with Bigs with Badges?
Right. So I'm the Chief Executive Officer and took the role in January of 2020, so right before COVID. So I'd like to say I'm still on a roller coaster and figuring everything out. But as we're, you know, the talks about growing this program was started in 2019, and we had some meetings in person pre-COVID. Actually, we met in February of 2020 with the Sheriff's Office, and they were, you know, you all were excited to grow the program and get your deputies involved. So after things calmed down a little bit and we could get back into schools, you know, we did a kickoff. We reconvened, and we're so excited to have it grow and then grow again. We're going to keep growing in September when school kicks off again. We're very excited for that.
Yeah, and another star of the video. I hope we don't embarrass you too much there, Deputy. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are
good.
You?
Victor Rivera has been with us for, a couple of years now, right?
Yeah,
Seems like?
About 3, yeah.
Started up here as a blue shirt, walking around, or?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was, like, I think 2 years has that been as a blue shirt, and then 3 years.
As sworn deputy.
Yeah.
So. And you're part of this program. You know, this is pretty exciting. You work in the jail bureau.
Yeah.
So why someone coming from the jail bureaus? Why would you be interested in, you know, doing a program like this? I mean, it's something you don't have to do. There's no mandate for you to do this.
No, I definitely don't get paid for it. It's coming straight from the heart. I just care about the youth. I care about the people. Just because I'm on the inside, I mean, you know, I care about the people, and I just want to make sure that our youth are mentored and going through the right path, because nowadays is out there is kind of crazy. So
Yeah. And we always talk about, this cycle of violence we're seeing in the city and all over our country. Prevention is the number one thing, right? And at the other end of it's the court bureau and the jail bureau. And if we could do a much better job at the prevention side,
for sure,
we probably turn some of those other things off sooner or later, right? And that's a wonderful thought. Did you have a mentor in your life that geared you towards this? That said, I want to give back.
Yeah. Can I say his name? Am I allowed to say his name?
If not, we'll bleep it out. So say it.
Shout out to Steven Sickles. He mentored me through high school. I wasn't really the best kid in high school towards like freshman year, and he came and grabbed me by my neck. I was like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And kind of just guided me back. And
That's
so
wonderful.
shout out to him. He's guided me, and I mean, it turned out pretty well. So now I can give back and
God bless.
mentor Sean and other kids as well.
That's great. And that's what it's got to be all about, right? I mean, it's just that mentorship, sometimes that connectivity, let alone we'll get more into bridging the gap that you guys are doing so well. But, that's such a special part of what you guys are doing.
It is, and we see a lot of that where our bigs, so the volunteer, the mentors are called bigs, and the youth in the program are called littles. We enroll them starting at age 8, and if they're matched by the time they're 16, they can stay in through their 24th birthday.
Wow.
So really getting them that after high school, what happens next, right? So really keeping that mentorship going. But a lot of our bigs will say, I had a mentor in my life, and now I'm ready to give back. And then you just watch it come full circle and how it's really impacting both lives. I'm sure you've spoke before about how it's impacted your life and Sean's life. I mean that smile is priceless, and he loves it. He's got a friend that comes to see him at the school, and he's in his uniform, and he's the cool kid now. He's got he's got a deputy mentor. So.
Priceless.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that too, and the fact that the importance of like when the young mind is developing. You know what I mean? And you're striking that relationship with law enforcement that it's not always bad. And that's the perceived notion that everybody's got in their mind, especially even as kids as young as that. They see it as they get it from somewhere else or outside of the school walls or whatever. That this guy's bad, that guy's bad, and guys like you coming in there and doing things like that and giving that mentorship, man, that's huge. I mean, like she said, you gotta love that when you see that kid and you see the smile on that kid's face, or that kid feels like he can come to you and tell you something. That's huge.
For sure. He was really excited when I showed up. He was just talking to everyone about me, wanted to show me all of his teachers and all of his friends. So honestly, just the look on his face and how excited he was, and he was not fearful at all. And sometimes, I mean, for the most part, people are fairly unknown.
Right.
And he was just all in. He was like my best friend the first day I met him. So,
awesome.
Yeah, he was really excited, really, really excited. And so was everyone else too, not just him, but I mean, the kids that were there, like I was just standing, and then like the kids in the cafeteria, they would come and shake my hand. And so it was a pretty unique experience and pretty awesome too. Yeah.
So Lisa, Big Brothers Big Sisters been around for a long, long time, right? And so this project's kind of new within that. How's this fit in the mission of the overall?
So our mission too is ignite the power and potential of all youth, right? So we do that in a variety of programs. Our typical community-based match, which I think a lot of people think of, the adult goes to the child's house, picks them up, they go on an outing, and then come back home. We also have a workforce development mentoring program. We have a high school big mentoring program where it's group mentoring, but the high school students are mentoring the elementary. And then our Bigs in Blue, it fits right in, right? I mean, and perfect timing with everything that's going on in the world.
Exactly.
It's a nationwide program. There's only, I think, about 40 affiliates out of the 238 that have fully adopted it. So we're one of them, and excited to have one of the programs nationwide right here in Rochester and in Monroe County. And it's that mentoring piece and all of the benefits that, the traditional mentoring relationship has, but then a twist, like we talked about, bridging the gap within the community and such. So.
Yeah, and I also wondered, and I see you have an influx of law enforcement guys that are interested in getting into this. I mean, how do they go about this?
So they can visit our website, which is www.beabig.org. And the first step is to sign up right online. You would do an orientation to learn more about it. And then if it sounds like it's something you're completely interested in still, you go through the enrollment process, get interviewed. We collect your match preferences. So we want to make sure, like Deputy Rivera definitely had the opportunity to share the preferences and what he was looking for in a child, because we want the match to last.
Right.
Right. So we know that there's going to be longevity. Right now, our average match length is 23.7 months. So just under 2 years. And we have some matches that have been in the program for 10, 12 years. But so it's, matching them carefully, not just the next one in the queues, get paired together.
I found something fascinating. You mentioned they go up to age 24.
Yes.
That's pretty incredible. A lot of projects that, especially community-based nonprofit, they do their mission, and the mission's got a defined time frame, and then it's gone. And
Right.
this mentorship thing, from a person that put 2 kids in college, I'm like, there's a vulnerable time in life, right? The freshman year of
Absolutely.
college is scary as hell.
Absolutely.
So even mentorship through that, or an on-the-job training, or hopefully some of these kids will end up in law enforcement, and
Right.
things like that. That whole mentorship program. So 24 is a great way to do it. I never thought about that.
Just to give you an idea, I'm sorry.
No,
I'm
go
not
ahead.
even 24 yet, just to give you an idea. I'm only 23.
Stop. Stop.
So I could be in a program still if I wanted to.
There you go.
You're not helping your career one bit.
And that's
How old are
huge
you there,
plus.
Deputy?
What was that?
How old are you?
23.
23.
23.
Here's our recruitment pitch. So we recruited a couple times so far. I don't know if you heard it. It's the recruit for this particular program. We're looking for mentors. And it's a great job for a law enforcement officer to give back and also build that bridge. We'll go deeper into that. But these jail deputy jobs, these 19 years old.
Yeah.
You become a jail deputy, civil service, unionized health insurance retirement job.
Incredible.
Start at 19 years old. So, developing these young people is potential. Jail deputies is a great, you're leaving high school the next year, you could be having a great, great job.
I've matured a lot. I've matured a lot since I joined the bureau. Since as a deputy, I wasn't always the most mature, and that really matured me a lot, pretty fast. So
And no one's mature at 18, 19, 20, right?
Right.
That's,
No, right.
that's
No,
so
it's not.
we put a lot of pressure on young people.
Yeah,
Like, you're not mature. Of course you're not.
So I always
You're
tell,
not mature.
I always tell my sons, you got to start evolving.
Yeah.
Every 5 years I tell them you should show some sign of evolvement in life. That means
Right.
you're maturing. That means you're going towards something. Because if you stay status quo, how do you grow as an individual? And you as a deputy, at your age, at 23 years old, the involvement that you're doing right there, that's huge. That speaks volumes, because, like she said, that could be a relationship that'll go beyond the 2 years, and not just 2 years. It's 2 years plus making this guy a dedicated individual to the Rochester community.
Right.
And these are some of the things. And who knows, with the uniform on now, that might be the direction he's looking at.
for sure.
We don't mind. It's all for recruitment too.
Right. Absolutely.
So what brought you to this program? What
To the agency or this?
Well, the agency, and
the
then in
agency.
particular this program. I mean, this is such a unique. I know it's going across the nation, but
Right.
this-
I think we need it so much right here.
Right.
We need it in New York. I mean, it's needed nationwide, but just to watch even the events unfold over the last few years, I mean, that just speaks to how much we need it, right? I mean, I think that the community needs to see another side, and the media doesn't often post beautiful videos like
Right,
this and,
right.
and stories, but it's needed. I guess.
Yeah.
So when we saw it happening nationwide in some of the bigger cities, I think it's in Houston and in Los Angeles and some of the bigger cities, like, you know what, we're similar, we're just
Right.
smaller.
Yeah.
So let's
which can
let's
make it a
start
little
this
easier
year.
also. You mentioned, a picture's worth 1,000 words. So I think, Mateo, you got a couple more photographs. Like, let the picture speak for themselves. But you can't pay money for this interaction, right? You can't pay money for the smiles and the authenticity of this relationship, which is pretty cool. And I understand Vic got slammed down in this picture. It's, right? Slammed down.
He's got a nice jump shot.
Does he really? Good.
Yeah.
Good. And it's tough to do a jump shot and have a gun belt, right?
Yeah,
I'll give you credit
I
there.
can't really stretch,
But this is what it's all about, and bridging that gap. And this kid is influencing other kids when he tells these positive stories about cops,
Absolutely.
right? And same thing, you're going back and saying our youth has potential, and our youth is positive, and our youth is our future, right? And so much we want to put negative spins on narratives like that.
Right. And I think so many people think of mentoring, and that's like, oh, I'm going to have to go do homework and teach life lessons and, really get through to these kids. But it's really not. It's things like that. It's playing basketball. It's, playing Jenga. And that's where the relationship where he starts to feel comfortable with you. And then he's going to confide and really talk with you and speak to you about things that are going on in his life. And then you slide in the mentoring, and, it's, almost a stigma we need to break. It's not all homework and tutoring and life skills. Those come in. They just get organically folded into a basketball game and such.
Oh yeah, because you never know the ins and outs of someone once they leave school. Once they go into an environment who maybe they don't have communication with anybody else. It's a lonely thing. You get home at times or whatever, and if they find they got someone that they can bounce things off of, or like with the basketball,
literally bounce things off.
Yeah, right, or playing that type of thing. Now, the whole process of the Bigs with Badgers. Now, you said this was the partnership that got into flux with the sheriff department back in I believe it was 2020.
Yes, yep. So we started with RPD and Geneva PD in 2019, and then moved it to the Monroe County Sheriff's Office in 2020. And then obviously we were put on hold because it's a school-based program. So we couldn't do it throughout the pandemic, but now coming back and moving forward full force.
Establish one-on-one relationships with the goal of ignite the brightest future for our youth.
Yeah.
It's just a good term. I mean, I just love how that states, the objective here is to ignite the brightest future of our youth.
Yeah,
it's a cool mission statement you're part of, right? I mean,
yeah.
If you can ignite one, but I'm here to say that you're igniting a whole bunch with that kid's sphere of influence, right? The ripple effect going through that school and that community. And so that's the force multiplier we always talk about. It's pretty cool. So we have, I think we got almost 12 deputies in the queue one way or another. I know we got 2 certified, and then a whole bunch ready to rock and roll, hopefully pretty soon.
Yeah, once school kicks off, we are ready. We spent the summer in getting everyone enrolled. Unfortunately, we launched. It was end of May, early June, which was towards the end of the school year. But I'm like, we're not waiting until September. Why would you wait? Why would you do that? Yeah. So we got the first few matched, and then we'll go full force in September and October. Usually that first week of school, they don't want to see us. They've got enough on their plates. They're like, come back that second week, but we'll be there that second week of school, just, getting the kids enrolled so we can make the matches.
How hard are kids selected?
So they are selected individually. So somewhat different than our larger community-based program. We'll interview all the deputies first and find out their preferences, age range, life experiences, and then we'll go to the school. So this is Roberto Clemente School that we're working with. And, kind of explain the volunteer that we have, and they're really good about going to find the right youth for us. Yeah. So, yeah.
That's huge, though, because, just in you picking a kid out of a queue, you don't know what's this kid about. You don't know his background. So how, if you don't do it in that aspect, how do you expect it to grow?
Exactly.
That communication, how's that kid going to want to come to you if he says, I have nothing in common with this guy?
Nothing in common. Exactly.
Right. So very, I like that. It was very well thought of. But the thing about it is you've had a history of dealing with youngsters. You were a preschool special education teacher back in 2007.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. So just a history of dealing with little ones.
I love the kids. Love the youth. Love the youth for sure. And then next month will be my 10th year with Big Brothers Big Sisters, and started working directly in the schools with the programs, and then on my way up. So it's been great. And I, like you said, the preferences and the matching, that's kind of what makes us, I have to do a plug, but that's what sets us apart from other mentoring agencies, is that the in-depth enrollment process, so that they are set up for success, and the matches are going to last. And then they'll also receive monthly phone calls from a staff from Big Brothers Big Sisters to the parent, the child, and the mentor, just to make sure that everything is healthy. Is it safe? Do they need resources? How can we support the match to grow? And we know that that's going to help them grow a little bit longer too.
I love it.
So,
yeah, support for that family network, is so important too. Yes. And so plugs. Let's continue on with the plug. You brought a hat. You brought a Chotsky. I don't know if that's going to fit Tiz's head, but he's going to model for us. But you were even explaining the envelope, on the front. What's that all about?
Yes, you weren't kidding. You were going to.
I told you I was going to quiz you on it.
You can see the big B, right? You see the big B for the Big Brothers. Yep. Then you can see the little B, right? So there's your big and your little. The little B, and then the S is woven around. So the S peaks back there. So there's your S for sisters.
There you go.
And then the 3 lines and the logo symbolize the family, the volunteer, and the agency, because we know that we need all 3 working together for it to be successful.
I like that.
I'm sure people were looking at the hat and said, I have no idea what that's saying. That's a lot. That's a lot. I mean, that's incredible. You're going to take a plug for designing that, right?
Of course I
Yeah,
did.
of course.
Yeah.
That's how I lead around here. I don't know if you know. If it goes well, it's my idea. If it doesn't go so
All right,
well,
I like it. I can
it's his
adopt
idea.
that.
Right? So,
I do like the look of that. That is phenomenal.
Yes.
And the fact is, like you said, within that logo, it does show, you know what, how when you get the entities together, how they can form a union. I loved it. Great aspect.
Well, thank you.
here's another one of our mentors up here. She's one of our community liaison deputies. She just plays a great job in that. But I was so happy to see her involved in this because this is her personality too. Giving back, developing the future.
Beautiful.
Yeah, isn't it beautiful? That's a great picture.
Yeah, we were there the same day, and we chit-chatted a little bit. And
oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and she's an awesome person. She really is.
Well, she's in the community all the time, right?
Yeah,
that's part of her current job description. But that's her personality, so we're going to talk about her. She's not with us today. But, I'll just give plugs to folks coming out of the jail bureau. It might not mean, she's on the road. She's interacting with the community every day. She's seeing positive and negative every day. You guys inside the jail and sometimes the court are just seeing the negative, right? And for you to come outside those walls of the jail and develop this program and help develop this program, it's something special that you might not see from every police officer as we're, our road patrols designed to engage with the community in a positive environment, right, and develop people. So I love that she's part of it, but I also love the fact that we got people from the jail bureau and court bureau that are interested in doing this too.
Yeah, it only ignites, honestly, the fire inside me, if that's a good word to say, to help out the youth. We deal with the worst of the worst, realistically, inside the jail, and that kind of tells me, like, oh, wait a minute, we got to do something. There's more and more young guys coming into jail, and people that are my age I'm dealing with, and I'm like, we got to do something. Yeah. So it honestly, it just ignites the fire even more in my heart, I guess, to help out the community and help out the youth and younger guys that I guess are not not being led the right way. I can kind of guide them back and help them out, because the jail bureau, like I said, it's the worst of the worst, and you're just trying to help them out.
Yeah, like I said, this is a great avenue with the partnership with the Sheriff's Department, because a lot of us, like we do this podcast, behind the badge, because a lot of people don't see that other side of the Sheriff's Department. They'll see it, like we said, whenever there's something bad going on, or something that isn't kosher, let's say. But the thing about it is, then now you have something what you guys are doing as well that's starting with the younger kids, and this is phenomenal, because we always say it starts with that young mind.
Sure
you know
does.
what I mean?
Sure. Absolutely.
And you guys are maturing it in the correct way, where if you started from that point, by the time it gets up to the point to where, like we're saying, you're a guy that's 20 plus years in now instead of the 4 or 5 that you have now. That individual isn't going to look at you that same way. He might say, there might be some bad things here and there. No matter what job you do, you have not the best apples sometimes, but you do have some people in there that are respected. Some people in there that do the things in a program like this, especially partnering with the Sheriff's Department, is a huge plus. For sure.
Lisa, not a quiz, but and you did well with the hat, so you're obviously well in tune with your organization. So the board of directors are watching. She did well.
Thank you.
How many kids do you think you're touching as a whole, and then in particular with this program? So how many are big brothers, big sisters?
So we serve on average about 300 a year.
Wow.
And we're still rebuilding we had a lot of site programs that we lost during the pandemic, so we're building up from there. But honestly, the bigs in blue and bigs with badges, I would say right now we're hovering close to around 15. But like you said, you guys have 12 right here just in the works.
Right.
So when September pops, it's really going to pop. Yeah. You're the first sheriff department to have bigs with badges. So RPD and GPD have bigs in blue, which is strictly law enforcement officers. But really expanding it out to the court and the jail and all of that is great. And Yates County Sheriff's Office is behind you. They're coming. They're in the enrollment process as well too. So celebrate. You're the first.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that. First bigs with badges.
We don't mind. And we got great staff that's willing to push the envelope. Again, these guys and gals do not have to do this, right? And the fact that they're willing to do that just that's our culture we're trying to develop here. And you can do a lot with PowerPoints and a lot of talking, but for people that actually do is different. So those 300 people you're touching in some of the most dire straits sometimes of where their economics, social status might be, and all this other stuff. You're changing lives in a positive, but I'm going to go so profound that you may be saving lives. you may be saving a few lives, that people don't go down the wrong path. And
Right.
we see the horrific violence occurring in our communities. And as the deputy said, how many of those people could we have just touched at an early age and
Right.
steer them into a little bit different direction and maybe, change a life, but potentially even save a life. And unfortunately,
Absolutely.
that's realistic.
It is. It's
For the rest of his
very
life.
real. Yeah.
For the rest of his life, he's gonna remember this interaction. This
Right.
is the reality of
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Right.
right.
He's gonna remember me. He's gonna remember the sheriff's
Sure.
office. This interaction. He's gonna remember that.
Right.
And I mean, later down the road, when he's maybe 23 or 33 or whatever it may be, he's
Right.
gonna remember.
Oh, I guarantee he's going to remember you.
Oh, yeah,
Absolutely.
for sure.
And hopefully positive. No, I'm only joking. But the fact is,
I mean, think about it. If he's, in high school and, having a rough day,
yeah,
and this is for all of our mentors, just so that they know that there's somebody in their corner that's just a phone call away
Right.
that can, talk them down from the violence or talk them down from self-harm. It's real. It's out there. It's not necessarily getting better yet. I think we have a lot of work to do within our schools and with our youth, but just knowing that they have somebody there for them in their corner is
there's
huge.
There's so much, and it's such a positive. You're being proactive. You're being positive, not reactive, not negative. It's just the opposite of that. This is let's go get them, right?
Yeah.
And let's develop our future, and that's what it's all about, and improve people's lives around us within our sphere of influence. And you guys got at your organization have got a well, entrenched, great positive sphere of influence in the community, and now bringing us on board with that is so special. We really appreciate that.
Love the partnership.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, guys, it's getting to that point of the show. I believe we only got a couple minutes left.
Yeah, I think it takes us into what's called the no Miranda zone.
All right.
No Miranda. So you're familiar with the Miranda warnings?
Yes.
You have a right to remain silent. This is no Miranda zone. You don't have a right to remain silent. You're on my
Okay.
podcast, and I'm the sheriff. And Vic, you directly work for me, so you got to answer my questions anyways.
Is this the point where I leave? No.
Yeah. Right. Was that your phone ringing? So you want to ask the first one?
Yeah, sure.
All right, good.
Let me ask you guys, favorite fast food restaurant?
I guess Wendy's. I have to go fast food? Does Chipotle count? Is Chipotle fast food? I don't want to
So we're going to get in
Chipotle.
trouble, right?
I don't know.
That's a good question.
I don't really do a lot of fast food, but I like the Frosties.
Oh, I do too.
the
With
fries,
it, you ever do the,
the fries and the
president?
Frosty. Yeah.
I like your mindset. Chipotle. I was going Chipotle. I was
Yeah.
asking the same question.
I think it's fast
It's a
food.
question
I
of
don't
the,
know. I don't know.
Yeah, we're going to get
Essential.
email now.
Is
We're not
Chipotle
fast food. We're not fast food. Thanks for setting us up. That's awesome. So if you can go anywhere, Lisa, you're traveling around the world. Money's not an object. Where are you heading to?
Aruba.
Nice.
Yes.
A lot of people say
Without the
Aruba.
kids.
We'll bleep that out.
Yeah. I'll probably go to maybe Hawaii. Maybe
Yeah. I notice islands here.
Yeah.
Common theme.
Yeah. So Hawaii seems beautiful. I mean, they make it seem beautiful.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I would go there.
A lot of people speak Aruba. Aruba.
That's true.
You going?
I would love to.
With last podcast, we were talking about your trip to Carolina where you brought a platoon down there.
Yeah.
Now you're going to take a platoon to
No, I'm
Aruba.
not going out there. I don't go across the water.
Broadcast live. Let's do this.
Yeah, let's do it
Take it
then.
from the top. Let's go to the airport.
From Aruba, directly here.
Last book you've read?
Ooh.
Ooh.
I'm actually currently reading a book.
We'll take that.
It's called Time Between Us. It's kind of cheesy, but I got into it, and I'm like, I'm reading chapter 3. Might as well get chapter 4. And I was at 4. I went to 5 and 6, and
What's
I'm in
it about?
chapter like 32. Oh, it's kind of a fictional book about two people that are in different time zones, I guess, and they fall in love, and again, I was like, I read the first page or the first chapter, and I just went on and on.
Got
and
it.
on. Became interesting.
And Lisa says, huh?
Well,
Yeah.
I have a very busy job and 3 young kids. So
Yeah. So
I
it was,
honestly, Little Blue Truck.
Thank you.
It's a preschool book about a truck that, they all work together to get the truck unstuck. But
there you go.
it's a bedtime book. You said last book, so.
Yep.
This
That
is
sounds
didn't
like a better book
specify.
than mine. That's a better book than mine, it sounds like.
So I'm waiting for that phase. I got a 1-year-old granddaughter now, so it's going back to and how the TV shows and the books change. You're like, I can't keep up with the current events anymore.
Yeah, TV's
So
way
I'll
different
be looking
now.
for that one. Thank you.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
Well, with that, we're going to wrap up this episode, episode number 89, Behind the Badge. Deputy Tisdale, always a pleasure to have you here.
Hey, same to you,
Please,
sir.
Dep,
Yes, sir.
great.
Thanks for
Keep
having
on
us.
doing what you're doing. We appreciate
Thank
what you're
you.
doing. You're making
Thank
a
you
better
so
world.
much.
God
Yes,
bless.
sir. Thank
We're
you.
excited to be in the partnership.
Absolutely. Thanks. Till next week.